Don't forget to let the tiny human take a potty break before it's a puddle party.
I'm going to take you through the 5 iterations that I took my automation through in order to create the perfect automation. I mean, I never imagined myself attaching a vibration sensor to a potty. In this particular example, we're going to be looking at how I helped my son potty train, but this is just an example. You can apply this principle to every single automation that you have. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name's Ben. I've been a software engineer for a couple of decades, and I've been using those skills to help me build a smart home for the last 5 years or so. So for the first pass, I just wanted to get started. So I created something simple in Home Assistant that would basically just announce every hour that I needed to give my son an opportunity for a potty break.
Don't forget to let the tiny human take a potty break before it's a puddle party.
This soon fell down because there were edge cases that started to happen. Like if we went out the house, it would still announce.
Don't forget to let the tiny human take a potty break.
So I had to move on to level 2. So the second step was just to add some rules around whether we were in the house or out of the house, and it kind of coupled with how we set up the alarm as well. So this was a fairly intuitive first step to take, and it started to make it feel a lot more like an automation. I already do a bunch of stuff when we leave the house anyway. If you haven't seen my video on how to create a security alarm using Home Assistant, you should go check that out. And then it started to take shape, and I decided to move it on to level 3. It didn't take long before I hit another edge case, which was when he wasn't in the house, but I was in the house. It was reminding me to go and use the potty.
Tiny human, take a potty break.
So that wasn't great. This was pretty easily fixed though. I added something that I think you should add for all automations. So on the dashboard, I created a little toggle where you can opt out. So if you just opt out of the automation will check to see whether it should announce before it actually announces. Okay, so on to level 4. Now the automation's getting pretty fun. So we've already got level 3 where we have the opt-out where we can tap and disable it announcing. But we build smart homes so that we don't have to tap things. I've got a bunch of automation set up so I never have to touch a light switch. So why should this be any different? So what I did was I figured I know exactly when I'm going to be doing the nursery one, when I'm going to drop it off, where I'm going to be, and then I know exactly where I'm going to be and at what time I'm going to go and pick him up again. So I know when he's going to be in and out of the house, and I can infer that based on the nursery drop-off. So the way that I solved that problem was I used a zone. I created a zone, and when I effectively trip that geofence at a particular time, it can infer that when I'm back in the house, I'm not going to have my son with me. And then when I go back to pick him up later, I can do the same but in reverse, and I can turn the toggle back on so that when I get back home, the automation is automatically enabled again. The next level I think is really cool. So we've already covered what kind of happens if we're in or out the house, if he's in or out the house, and when we decide to announce it. But then there's also this other edge case where we could maybe give him an opportunity, and that opportunity happens to be 5 minutes before the timer is scheduled to go off. So I thought it would be really cool if I attach a vibration sensor to the potty. So then I can infer that if the potty hasn't moved for an hour, then we should give him an opportunity. And these vibration sensors are an awesome bit of kit. They don't require much movement at all to register a vibration. They respond really quickly, they clear really quickly, and they just took this automation to the next level. And if you're interested in picking up one of these, I'll leave an affiliate link down in the description. There's a bunch of other stuff I intend on using them for as well, so make sure you subscribe, stay up to date with that. So I'm going to dive now into what the complete automation looks like. So after it's gone through the entire 5 iterations, what I consider to be a perfect or near perfect and almost complete automation. Okay, so this is the complete automation. We've got something that's going to trigger it every 20 minutes past the hour. We also have the vibration sensor trigger as well, which is basically going to go if there's no vibration for 1 hour, then it's also going to trigger the automation. It's going to check the condition that we're at home. It's going to check the time window to decide whether it's good to announce or not. Basically, we don't want it announcing too far into the evening or too early in the morning. So this is going to make sure that it's within that time window. We also want to check that the potty reminder is on. So the toggle on the dashboard that we can turn on and off. And this one's kind of an interesting one. So we also want a condition to check that the potty hasn't been touched for an hour. And the reason for this is because we're going to have two slightly different cadences. We're going to have one cadence, which would be 20 minutes past the hour as it continually goes on. And we're going to have a slightly different cadence. So it's going to be invoked every hour from when there was last no vibration detected. So we're going to have a slightly different cadence. And these two are going to intersect at points as they kind of weave between each other. So we want to make sure whichever trigger, we don't kind of double guess it with the conditions as well. So that's going to make sure that we don't get too many. And then it's just going to do what it was doing all the way back at level 1, which is to call the text-to-speech engine for all Google Homes, and it's going to announce the message that you heard earlier on in the video. And it's also going to send me a notification as well, just in case I miss the broadcast, in case I have my headphones on or something like that. It's going to send it to my fairly old Pixel 6. And that's kind of the way the automation works. Like I said, you can apply this kind of automation to all of your automations. Like these say you can iterate through your automations and use these same kind of ideas for all of your automations. And the key is just to get started, do your first automation, see how it works, tweak it. You're never going to get it perfect first time. This took me maybe a couple of weeks to get exactly right and get exactly what I wanted. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. It really does help out with the YouTube algorithms. If there's anything you want me to go into more detail on, maybe something like the zones or anything along those lines, do leave a comment down below as well. I do read every single comment. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to see more of this, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next one.